That's right, the Samsung Galaxy S23 and S23 Plus are here. The standard for good Android phones in 2023 is now in place. Unlike the Galaxy S23 Ultra, there are no real headline-worthy upgrades to focus on with these two models. But Samsung's basic flagship phones still bring a level of quality, power, and features that make them hard to overlook. Improvement to the Galaxy S23's performance, cameras, battery, and a fresh design make this model a potentially worthwhile upgrade for users still on aging devices. But while the S23 makes a strong first impression, there are still some compelling alternative phones around that can do certain things better and sometimes for less money. From the back, the Galaxy S23 and S23 Plus are noticeably different from last year's phones, as the cameras now float by themselves in the top left-hand corner of the phone instead of huddling together in a single block. They now look much more like their bigger Ultra brother, which seems like a wise move on Samsung's part. From the front and the side, the new phones look nearly identical to the Galaxy S22 range. You get flat displays with curved side rails, with the handsets measuring at either 6.1 inches for the basic S23 or 6.6 inches for the S23 Plus. Samsung will sell you a Galaxy S23 in one of four colors: cream, phantom black, green, or lavender. All four colors look pretty smart in person thanks to the S23's matte finish on the back. The Galaxy S23 series is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on front and back, with Samsung being the first company to use this more durable glass on a smartphone. The Galaxy S23 could be one of the toughest phones of the year as a result, along with the usual IP68 rating against intrusions by water and dust. As for the screen's particulars, the Galaxy S23 continues to feature a 120Hz Full HD AMOLED display, just like on the S22 and S22 Plus. That display can scale down to 48Hz to save battery, just like before. Samsung also increased the brightness of the Galaxy S23 screen with a new maximum brightness of 1750 nits. Now, that's of course according to its own figures, and we'll need time with it in the lab before we can confirm. But in the brief hands-on time I did have with it, the screen seemed plenty bright enough to keep the home screen and other apps visible even under the bright lights of the Samsung demo area. For your photo taking needs, the Samsung Galaxy S23 and S23 Plus provide a 50 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and 10 megapixel telephoto lens with 3x optical zoom. If those cameras sound familiar to you, then it's because they're the exact same camera setup as on the S22 and S22 Plus from last year. These cameras are still totally solid though, even when compared with the latest iPhones.
This main shot of a stand of cupcakes in front of a tasty looking conveyor belt of confectionery is much warmer through the iPhone 14 Pro Max's lens. We'd say that the Galaxy S23 Plus image is much more appealing here, and closer to what we saw in real life on the day. Meanwhile, the ultra-wide image flips the script. The bike suspended from the wall here is captured as much cooler on the iPhone, as well as from a wider angle. The iPhone also captured the scene a little more sharply too, with less obtrusive noise in the dark areas.
The highlights in this 3x zoom shot are much more prominent in the iPhone 14 Pro Max's photo, and not necessarily to the benefit of the bird statue and the cube shelf here. Both images are nice and sharp though, which is the most important thing when trying to shoot a telephoto lens. The only new cameras on the Galaxy S23 is the 12 megapixel selfie camera. This is a small resolution jump compared to the S22's 10 megapixel selfie snapper. Looking at this comparison with the iPhone 14 Pro Max, we much prefer the more balanced colors of the face and jumper that the Samsung camera phone offers. It's also done a much better job of cutting around the edge of Richard's glasses with the portrait mode effect, something the iPhone completely messed up.
Samsung is using a unique Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy chipset in the Galaxy S23 series.
It's apparently a superior version of the regular Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip that's making its way onto the best Android phones available. The Galaxy version runs at a higher clock speed than standard, which Samsung is touting as excellent for mobile gaming. Regardless of whether you buy the Galaxy S23 or the S23 Plus, your phone comes with 8GB of RAM. That's lower than most rival phones, which use 12GB or higher, So we could see slower multitasking performance on the S23 series when compared to the competition. While a lot of the specs remain almost unchanged from last year's handsets, one important upgrade that you will get is a bigger battery. There's now a 3,900 mAh battery in the Galaxy S23 and 4,700 mAh in the Galaxy S23 Plus. These aren't massive increases, but more battery is always a good thing. Samsung has kept the same charging standards as last year's phones for both of these new models, which gives you a maximum of 25-watt wired charging on the basic S23 and 45-watt wired charging on the new S23 Plus. There's still no included charger in the box though, meaning that you'll have to go out and get your own compatible chargers if you want these maximum speeds. The upgrades Samsung has made to the Galaxy S23 and S23 Plus are welcome, even if they don't look that large on paper. We like the new tougher design, not to mention the potential of the updated selfie camera, larger batteries and custom chipset. But more testing is definitely needed to see if this is a big step forward for the Galaxy range, or if it's more of a short shuffle ahead. The truth is that some rival phones still have an edge over the S23 for various reasons. If your concern is price, then you've got the Pixel or OnePlus options, and if your concern is cameras, then you might be better off going for an iPhone, or Pixel again if you're not an Apple fan. If you love Samsung and you're still rocking an S21 or older, then the S23 could be a great upgrade for you. But if you're tempted by other phones in the $800 to $1,000 price range, you may want to wait for our full review to see if the Samsung Galaxy S23 or S23 Plus is the best use of your money. Samsung is officially selling the Galaxy S23 series from February 17th, with the standard model starting at just $799. The S23 Plus starts a little higher at $999. Unfortunately for us Brits, these phones start at £849 and £1,049 in the UK, which is a touch higher than the Galaxy S22 and S22 Plus cost when they launched. If all of this seems a little tame to you and you want to see our initial thoughts on the brand new Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, then head over to the Tom's Guide YouTube channel and check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.